Welcome back, friends, to the Unpopular Opinion, Becoming Popular. My name is Yana the Heretic, and I discuss the I Ching hexagrams of the week. And in transit, we have Gate 48, which is the gate of depth or the well. And this one's filtering October 2nd to October 7th. And it is a splenic gate under Christ consciousness. I am a little under the weather, experiencing some brain fog, so I wrote something extremely potent, and I don't want to fuck it up, so I might take a look at what I wrote to remember all of the potency of it, so excuse me if that happens. This is under the archetype of Christ consciousness, and the well is our lymphatic system. The spleen is all about our lymphatic system, so it is pattern recognition in our T cells, or in our ability to sense what our body is telling us. So the people that have their spleen defined, they're luckily going to recognize the things that are dangerous before playing out something that could potentially be detrimental to their health. And the T cells are like the little hairs that stand up on your body. They're like self-aware goosebumps, if you will. So they're always activated in our senses, like little tongues, that taste, hear, feel, see. It's like all of these little eyes, as well as ears and tongues, and this horrific display of something that can be written in a horror movie. But that's really what the T cells do. They help us sense what is happening around us, and it even could be directly linked to somebody with the sixth sense, the ones that can feel the unconscious, or the states and dimensions past the veil. So that's why we consider the splenic center to be extremely psychic. If you have gates in the center, it is the potential for things to come into your intuition that other people do not recognize. And the gate of depth is really the pool of this memory, the memory within feeling and sensing. So I actually read this week, today, that Christ is the well of life. And I was like, damn, okay, what's this about, So the book I was reading from is Alchemy from Marie-Louise von France, and they were talking about the unconscious state, and Carl Jung always talks about the unconscious and the wholeness of everything in our environment, everything that requires a healthy being to exist. You have to look at all the components of their life. So the unconscious is really important because we have dreams that come into our unconscious state. And this book specifically was describing if you have dreams of floods or being drowned or overwhelmed with water, that means that our psyche is being overwhelmed. Our actual lunacy really stems from this place. So that just means that we have this neurosis, this capability of our mind and what we think to paralyze us, because we're thinking too much about what is going on in the world. We create these fantasies of us not being safe. And If you have dreams opposite of that, that are of you being thirsty or being in a desert or being in a very dry place, this is actually beneficial because you are trying to extract the anima of the situation at hand, the issue at hand, and you're trying to see the underlying things that are happening in your life and addressing that, finding that in your dream and in your conscious state. So that is really where this Christ is the well of life, because as you know, in Christ's consciousness, he is the one that flows in life. He observes all the symbolism. He hears the voice. He really does the impossible, but he is also detached, right? So, there's obvious things that he has to do, but he doesn't let his mind stop him from projecting onto that experience. Like, oh no, like, should I do that thing? It's just this like complete confidence that, you have trust in your intuition, that, your intuition really guides you. And there are those that are considering this drowning state to be marvelous, that they are drowned in something that is marvelous, so these are the type of people that they are stuck in their inception, and instead of moving the pawns in the game of matter, they're stuck in this other state of fantasy, and they're trapped in their cells. So I actually, wrote this way better than I'm saying it now, but in extreme cases, you have a sense of being drowned in something marvelous, and there is no way to be cured, since you are enjoying this plane of inception that is far more interesting than moving the pawns in the chess game of waking life. And this is a direct quote. This next quote is a direct quote from the book. And it says, "They sit in bed or in their cells in the asylum and talk of what God is and what should be done to save the world." So when I first read this, I instantly thought of the spleen. So instead of like the actual cell, like the jail cell, I thought, oh, they sit in their cells, like in their actual nuclei, and that really spoke to me, because it talks about this, literally our blood cells sitting in this metaphoric asylum, an inert nuclei. So being paralyzed in movement, in action, and this is extremely potent for, the negative aspects of this gate, because it is considered the gate of inadequacy. And gate 48 on its own, has this potential to be really deep, like a really deep person, but they don't recognize their own depth. They don't know that they have this well, because, they don't have anyone naturally to draw it out of them unless they get asked. And once they get asked, these people are like, damn, okay, like, you got shit to say, you have like an amazing intuition. But not only does gate 48 on its own not able to recognize their depth, they don't feel like they have the skills to express it, because on the other end, we have gate 16, which is in our throat. So if you do have the 16, which is the gate of skills or enthusiasm in the throat, you have the ability to express your depth. You have this confidence that you are able to really depict what it is that your intuition is telling you, whether it's through art or music or, spoken word or poetry or, seminars, lectures. You get to the point you're able to really sustain the ability to communicate this wide, web of what you are choosing to give to other people. The other dark aspect of this gate, Ra considered this to be the gate of black magic, where if you think about the hermit and you think about a person that is walking into the black portal, into the black hole, a person that is jumping into the abyss, into the void, into oblivion, and coming back and just being able to be like, holy shit, this person, like, he's back, or she's back, they're back from oblivion, and they come with actual knowledge. The hermit comes bearing light, and they have a choice. They have a choice to share this knowledge or just take it upon themselves as their own power above other people. So that is why 48 is the gate of black magic. Since they're so deep, they always try to find the trick. What is the magician doing? What is the magician actually doing that is causing this effect, this hypnotic state? And once the 48 discovers that, whether it's like, a magician or a surgeon, you really know that this person is capable of doing that. And it's rare that somebody has the power to achieve these really difficult things and be very still, be very fluid, in this stress related situation. They're able to achieve these things. And there is a potential where you can share this knowledge with the people around you, or you keep it to yourself. And that really causes you to break these bonds as well, because at its most potent state, gate 48 has the ability to also create unity between other people. This is a collective gate. So you can either really reason and create a treaty as well, or, a deal or a bargain, or you don't because you decided to be selfish, or you didn't give enough, or you didn't feel intuitively what the right decision was, and or you just didn't express your depth. So this is the potential of breaking these bonds and also being inadequate. But the benefit of this gate, especially if you have the entire channel of the wavelength design of talent, you're able to really express this depth in many different layers, and you are showing it to the world. Maybe not right away, maybe you wait for years to really sculpt this vision, to really make sure that everything is completed within this vision, and then you share it and you dose the world with it, and people are like, like, that's so amazing, that's really the potential of this gate, is to have many layers that show up. If that's all of the painters that I personally love, all of the artists that I personally love, share this depth, because you think about it, it takes years to really encapsulate this entire essence of, whether it's the moment, the philosophy, an experience that caused pain or treachery or joy. You depict these things into your art, and you can resonate with people that way, because you're like, I know exactly the feeling that you're felt here. And that's what an artist really wants. That's how genres are made. That's how people who are of the niche get this joy. And some of the time, you know, unfortunately, these artists die before their work gets recognized, and it doesn't feel worth it. And that is also a way they feel inadequate, where they don't feel like anyone got them, like Van Gogh, you know, somebody that died before their art just blew up. Like, everyone loves Vincent Van Gogh. And he's definitely a huge example of somebody that potentially carried 48, because he cut off his ear, you know. He was like in the lunacy aspect, in this like fairy, like, I'm gonna do anything I can, you know, even crazy shit just to depict my love. So there's lots of essences of how this comes out. And even though we don't have gate 16 this week, we have the ability to recognize our own depth. Some people don't have this gate naturally, so they never really get to, you know, find it, you know, and this week has the potential to really help you shine, whether people ask you questions or, you know, you start talking aloud, you know, to yourself, and you're like, holy shit, where's all this like frequency coming from? So we really see the purpose or the meaning, the deeper whole of what we're trying to achieve. And it builds a certain taste. It builds a certain flavor of who we are. And it anchors us to what we're focused on. So from a gate 48... I hope that that was very digestible. And yeah, there's one other thing I wrote that was potent, and just to relay this again, if a life-threatening life or death situation occurs, and the 48s fear they can't make the correct decision for the benefit or the benefit of others, they crystallize the flow. That's what it feels like for water to get, you know, frozen. We get frozen in our cells and don't know how to act. So don't give up on anything like that you're doing. I do not believe in that. Look under the rug, look deeper, you know, look into anything, ponder the orb, I don't know, just whatever makes you feel like this beautiful, like, depth, whatever brings that out of you is really healthy this week, let's just say. Maybe get yourself a really cool prism or kaleidoscope, or, you know, look at portals, who knows. I love portals. Questions of the week. How does depth allow your focus to be anchored? What dreams have been occurring for you this week? Has there been a reoccurring theme? And how able are you to look at your hands in your dreams? That is another Don Juan secret, I guess. If it is a secret, I don't know how many people talk about it, but if you are able to look at your hands in a dream, you're more able to apparently lucid dream. I haven't done it yet, not successfully, not really fully successfully, but I hope to get there soon. But that's like really where this inception begins, where you can start playing with total perception of your as above, so below realms, which really is a loved term for as it is within, so it is outside of me. And yeah, that has been an incredulous, beautiful lesson, is to see the wholeness of our being, the total perception of who we are, because how could we possibly realize the total perception of something that we are not if we don't even know our own totality? Anyway, how do you feel about water? Does it rejuvenate you? Do you feel scared of water? How often do you consume water and wash off the grime? And how does it make you feel? I don't know if I mentioned baptism. I probably didn't. Because, yeah, I'm a little funky this week, but baptism, that's another interesting aspect. And that was a sacred anointing ritual for Jesus Christ. And, a lot of Christians, a lot of religious folk baptize their kids. So if you look at it and you separate the religious aspect from it, baptizing yourself in water is like very, not only is it cleansing, but it is the ability to know that you are safe in water. You're safe in your unconscious. You're safe in your conscience because you have control in these states. So, you dip yourself in water and you know that you're going to come out of water. So you have these realms side by side and they're all realized, knowing that you're not going to get drowned by your psyche. You're going to come out and it's going to be a very clear expanse. So, does that happen when you are in water? Does it make you feel cleansed? Does it make you feel more confident if you can swim? We're looking at the totality. What makes you afraid to express yourself? Where do the roots lie of these symptoms? Do you find it is important to express yourself? Some people don't, that's not me. So, there's no right and wrong answer. It's just interesting. It's always good to know, perhaps there's a lot of 48s out there that don't really feel safe to express, and their work may be found in some book, some journal, and it could be profoundly amazing, and the secrets of the universe could lie there. Who knows? But that is pretty much it for this week. The gate of depth, the well. I will see you guys in the next transit. And be safe, be happy, be courageous, diving into the oblivion, into the pool, spelunking, whatever it is you're doing. See you next time.